And I just wanted to talk briefly about President Jimmy Carter versus President Donald Trump, about the legacy that each of them have shown to the American people. And if you think about how they perform as POTUS of our nation, you can see the clear difference of men who were really guided by God than by ego. President Carter was someone who led by example that many people didn't like very much because it was the Christian way to be humble, to be forgiving. He did not join the political game of accepting quid pro quo. If you do this for me, I'll do that for you. And that is one of the reasons why he was not very successful being a president. He is considered to be not one of the best presidents of the United States, but we can agree that he was one of the greatest leaders in our country and the world. He brought about the Department of Education, the Department of Energy. He also achieved things that Trump has never achieved. He brought peace in the Middle East between Egypt and Israel. He also did numerous other things that were very admirable. Trump, on the other hand, has led by ego, by insulting, by attacking, by undermining people, by putting them down. And that is not really the Christian way. I know you can see that clearly. But then you wonder why so many Christians in the United States support him. Even the church that I attend, I hear conversations in the past as well about how Trump is great, how some people are even saying that he's sent by God, that he is destined by the hand of God, when he acts nothing like a Christian leader, like Jimmy Carter was. If you look at, for example, at how he left the office after one term because he was defeated by Ronald Reagan, who was not really a very Christian person if you look at his actions and his behavior compared to Carter or Trump. He never lied. He was humble. He dealt with challenges, but he was always guided by God. He was never trying to gamble or do corruption. He was always looking to be a better man for the country and for himself. And all you have to do is even look at his personal life. Look at Jimmy Carter's life as a husband, as a father, and then look at the life of Donald Trump as a husband and as a father. That's all you have to see. And some people say, oh, I did not vote for him because I'm not looking for a saint. I am looking for a leader. Well, See what that's going to take you eventually, if you are really a Christian or a moral person that supports someone who has no values that are recognizable in the Christian faith or any faith that looks towards goodness and respect and peace and love. And that's what Carter represented. He was asked in an interview, if you want to be remembered by the American people, what would you like to be remembered as? And he said, I want to be remembered as someone who promoted peace and human rights. You cannot say the same thing about Trump. Even now, Trump is talking about invading Greenland or Iceland, when he has really no stake in it at all. He's talking about taking the Panama Canal again from the Panamanians, even though it's already theirs. Thanks to President Carter, who made that happen during his term. He gave the Panama Canal back to the Panamanians because it belonged to them in his belief of the Christian way, not the imperialistic, selfish way that I'm going to take whatever I want. He said, hey, this is yours. I'll give it back to you. Now Trump is trying to reverse what Jimmy Carter did. And it happened under President Bill Clinton, where he officially gave it back to the Panamanians in 1999. I mean, it's evident. You can see where people stand. And you can say maybe Trump would have a semi-point about keeping taking the Panama Canal again because it used to belong to the U.S. But he has no stake saying, oh, I'm going to take Iceland. It's never been a U.S. territory ever. That kind of sounds like Putin saying, oh, I'm taking Ukraine because it used to belong to us. I can see that maybe kind of making a little sense for Putin. Or China saying they want to take Taiwan again because it used to belong to them. Same thing with the Panama Canal. But what about Iceland? How is Iceland even remotely any way associated with being U.S. territory at all? That's just somebody throwing shit to see if it sticks. And he's talking about even military action. That is a behavior that's totally unbecoming of his. And all you have to see is the people that Trump has put in his administration, who are people that are billionaires, who control the corporate world and the financial world, as opposed to Jimmy Carter, who never did that. President Jimmy Carter even said something along the lines of USA has become a nation built on oligarchy with unlimited bribery. And that's where we are today. It's a situation where it's comical to see that the most virtuous, righteous president of the United States has died at 100 years old. And then we have this guy coming in who is the total opposite of what a real leader is supposed to be. Who's about arrogance and pride, as opposed to a president who was about humility and respect and decency. I mean, it's a very obvious contrast. And if you don't see that, you better take a look in the mirror and see where you are in values in your life. For not just for you, but for your family and the future of the United States. Because if you embrace someone who is that corrupt, where is that going to take the USA? Somebody who's supposed to be anti-war, and he's not. He's threatening countries about, oh, maybe I'm going to take over you, like Canada or Mexico, where Carter never even said any of those things. They asked him, they said, what do you think your legacy is? And Carter said, well, I can tell you that I never sent a soldier into a battle. I never started a war. I fought for peace and human rights. He said something along those lines. Can you say the same thing about the Lion King that's going to take over shortly on January 20th? No. Very different individuals. And there's even a comparison online that I heard, which I found comical. Someone said, who would you prefer to be with you after a shipwreck on a desert island? President Carter, who would have your back as a moral good man, or Trump, who would throw you under the bus if anything came around that would threaten him? He would leave you behind. And you know this, just like he did many people in the past. Pence or any of the people that he threw under the bus, risking their lives. Anyway, I just felt like sharing that. Hope you are having a good one. Till next time, I guess. Know where you stand. Hasta la vista.